Welcome to Ask Glenn, everyone. Today I have Jack with me, and I'm going to let Jack take it away and share her story, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me, Win. Hey, everyone. My name is Jack Oree. I am a transgender and autistic life coach and author. I like to say that I took the long way around to the life that I live. I grew up in a regular home with my family, and I didn't know at the time that I had autism, didn't know I was transgender, didn't figure out either of those things until I was in my 30s. So I spent a lot of my time trying to be somebody who I wasn't, and that, as you can imagine, was very difficult for me. And to make a long
Oh,
story,
yeah. Oh,
yeah, yeah, so I bounced around going to college from career to career, went back to school 4 times, got in a whole lot of relationships that were not healthy. And then in my 30s, I uh, was diagnosed with autism. And soon after that, I also began exploring my gender identity and came out as transgender. And the end result of all of that is that I want to make life easier for the people who come after me. So what I do is as a life coach, I work with both people with autism, people who are transgender, and with their families to help them understand how to support the special person in their life. And then as a writer, I write young adult novels that are meant to empower people to live their most authentic lives.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so, okay, let's face one elephant in the room, you guys, and then we'll face the other. The first elephant in the room is, what were you and what did you become as far as transgender?
Sure. Well, the way I like to put it is I was always a boy, but I was born a girl. A lot of people in the transgender community call it assigned at birth because like when I was born, I was the doctor said I was a girl. So so I grew up as a quote unquote girl. And it was very difficult for me to make friends because after third or fourth grade, boys don't like to play with girls, so I would have rather played with the boys, but they didn't want to play with me, and a lot of the girls thought I was weird and didn't want to play with me either, so that was kind of
Yeah.
difficult. And then I transitioned to male, which means that I started dressing more male and got my hair cut now, and I take hormones to help my beard grow and that kind of thing.
Okay. So you were a girl but transferred into a guy.
Right, right.
Okay. So that's the first elephant in the room, you guys. The second elephant in the room that this journalist would like to decode is, when and how. I know you said that you got diagnosed with autism in your 30s, but how did you get diagnosed?
Right. Okay, so this was a interesting story because, like I said, growing up as a kid, I really had a lot of problems with social skills, and I had a lot of problems with relating to other people, understanding social rules, that kind of thing. But it never really occurred to anybody that it might be autism because I walked and talked, and people don't understand always there's a spectrum and that there's a variety of behaviors. So as I got older and I was studying psychology and I learned more about autism and I learned about what used to be called Asperger's syndrome, now it's called high functioning autism. And so I thought a lot of this sounds like me. And when you're studying this kind of thing, everything that you're studying sounds like you, right? So, but what I did was I went to my doctor and I told the doctor, and the doctor referred me to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist referred me to an autism center, and the autism center put me on a waiting list. And then about a year later, I had an evaluation, And at that point, I remember the therapist who did the evaluation said, "This is a very long evaluation, so if you need to break it into 2 or 3 days, if you need to stop, let us know." And I was just like, "I've waited so long to find out about this. I am not waiting any longer."
Yes. Yes. You're like me. When I had to do a psychoanalysis evaluation for something, they told me, okay, this is going to be a long evaluation. Do you want to break it up? I said, absolutely not. I said, absolutely not. I'm here to get this thing done, and I want it done now. So they were like, okay, Win, whatever you wish. And so we got it done then and there. But a lot of people think when you have autism, you're bouncing off the walls.
Right, exactly. I think a lot of people get their ideas about autism, from television, because on TV they always either show the person who is really, really good at one thing but they can't function, or the person who's completely nonverbal. And there are some autistic people like that, obviously, but that's not everybody. So sometimes it kind of slips through the cracks because it's like, well, you are on the spectrum and there are certain things that are difficult for you and there are certain things that you might not understand right away, but you're not that stereotype.
And okay, what is one stigma you want to break for the autistic world today on Ask Win?
I definitely want to break what I just said, that whole stigma of thinking it's a certain way. And the other thing, more specifically, that I've always wanted to break the stigma of thinking autism is something that's shameful or something that needs to be fixed. Because one of the things that people say sometimes when I talk to them is they'll say, "Wow, I didn't know you were autistic. You seem so normal." And the opposite of autistic is not normal. The opposite of autistic is non-autistic, or neurotypical, or whatever word you want to use, but not normal. And I think that's really important to realize, that being autistic is a way that my brain is wired, but it's not something that's broken. It's not something that needs to be fixed. And I think parents, especially, a lot of times are like, "I wish my child wasn't autistic because it's so hard either for them as a caretaker or for the child as a person with autism." And they're well-meaning and they of course love their child, but they don't realize that by saying that they're really saying, "I wish my child wasn't who they are." And so I want to break that stigma.
Okay, well, what is your favorite book?
I have so many books that I love. Being a writer, and I read widely from the time I was little and read ahead of time. But I'm gonna go ahead of my grade level. I was reading, like, Huckleberry Finn was my favorite when I was in second grade. But I'm gonna go as an adult with My Name is Asher Lev by Chaim Potok, which is about a Hasidic Jewish boy who is an artist, and he struggles because throughout his whole life, because it goes against the religious faith of the community and family that he um, is born into. And I kind of identify that with that, both as a person with autism and as a person who's transgender, because it's like, you want to fit into your community, you want to please your family, but you also want to be yourself. And so I love that book because it tells all about his struggle with his gift.
And so, if you had to move and only take five things with you, what would they be?
Okay, well, I definitely would take my computer with me so that I can write and stay connected. Um, Not a thing, but I would take my cat with me because he goes where I go. um, Let
Yes,
me see what else.
and people can come too.
Okay, great. Yeah. Um, I would take my copy of my novel, my proof copy, because I just love holding it in my hand, and I would want to be able to reread it and to be able to show it to people in my new community. Um, I would take some of the paintings that I've done when I was younger, and let's see, what else? I would take my water bottle because you always need water, right, until you can get
Yes.
other stuff. So, yeah, I
And
would.
what is your morning routine?
Okay, so in the morning, I wake up. When I wake up, I like to stay in bed for a little while, sort of half awake, half asleep. And then the first thing I like to do is I like to do a meditation in the morning to help me center my day and help me stay focused on what I want to accomplish. And then after that, I eat breakfast, shower, all that stuff. And then the first thing I do in the morning is I do some paying work that I have to do for a freelancing client, so that I can get some money coming in. And then after that, I have the whole rest of the day free for my own writing, for promoting my coaching, for blogs, and all that stuff.
Ah, well, good. Well, it sounds like you're very productive. And on your hard days when autism gets in the way, what do you do?
I try to take some deep breaths, and I'm very like attuned to, like, if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling um overwhelmed. That's a good time for me to stop and like look into my body and think about what's going on. Maybe do a meditation, maybe just rest, maybe just stop what I'm doing for a while, and try to go at my own pace. I think that's really important to do. And one of the things that I find is it's important not to put too much pressure on myself to get things done at a certain time. Obviously, some things have to be at a certain time, like this interview was at a certain time. But, in general, like if I'm doing a writing project or something like that, to try to realize if I don't get as much done today, it's okay. If I need to stop and take breaks on some days, or if on some days I just need to take time off and not do much of anything, that's okay.
Yes, stop with putting pressure on yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because us as disabled people, our disabilities come in number one. Full
Yeah.
stop, next paragraph. Full stop, next sentence, next paragraph. The disability comes number one. Whether it's autism, whether it's cerebral palsy, whether it's Tourette's, whether it's being blind, whether it's hard of hearing, the disability comes number one before work. So you need to literally work the disability around your work.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And it's very important to realize, this is who we are, and we're doing this on our schedule because I think the world is obviously not set up for disabled people, um, and our society so often uh, tends to focus on productivity, and you have to get it done, and you have to be moving all the time. And if you don't have this kind of job and you're not making this kind of money and you're not doing this, then you're not productive. And I think that it's important not to give into those messages and realize that we are who we are. We do it on our schedule.
So yeah, that's one point I want to make clear is that we do it on our schedule. We can stick to timelines, but we don't like to.
Right, exactly.
And so as we wrap this interview up, do you have any questions for me?
Um, Let me. I am really enjoying just getting to know you. I was listening to some of your podcasts earlier, and I did not get to hear much about your new project. So I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about your hibiscus project.
My hibiscus project. Jeez, I did a full-fledged episode on that, you guys. Well, my hibiscus project has actually, yes, it does. It has something to do with writing, but it has more to do with the physical move. But once I get to my destination, I will pull out my laptop and start punking away because I'm going back to school and I'm doing that. And also, I will be in a much better spot. Let's put it that way. In a I'm in a interesting spot right now. And so once I move to the East Coast, I will be in a much better spot.
Oh, great, great. I'm on the East Coast too, so I'm excited to be
Yeah,
posted.
a lot of people on the East Coast, and I keep teasing people, Jack. I keep saying I'm coming to a normal time zone that people actually know, that people actually
Right,
know because they don't necessarily know Mountain Time. They haven't known it for years, so I just convert my time to East Coast time, and it's like, ugh, I am so sick of being sick that I am so tired of being sick. And when I say sick, I am sick. And well, you guys know this. I'm getting diagnosed with asthma, and it's about a long time coming. And one of the reasons why I'm moving to sea level is because my lungs are getting weaker and weaker because of the asthma. They're they're pretty good right now, but on sea level, they're going to be perfectly fine.
right. Yeah, I understand. So I'm just hopeful, hopeful that it sounds
Yeah,
like a good move for you. So yeah,
we
I'm excited for
we
you
hope
too.
it,
And
we hope
yeah,
it
so
works. We hope it works. I mean, I'm planning all this stuff, and then we'll have more information. I'll have more information on December 17th. But yeah, but I'm hoping that it works, and I'm hoping that you guys will support me. And Jack, I know you will, and I know a bunch of others will. And I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and listening to another fabulous episode of Ask Win. And Jack, where can people find you if they choose to do so?
yes, definitely. I am on Facebook. I have a Facebook page under my name, Jack Aori, which you can also go to facebook.com/heroic muse books for that. And I also right now have a free guide for parents of transgender people who want to know how to support their kids that you can go to bit.ly slash transgender guide and put in your email to download that. Um, and that'll give you some information and ways to contact me as well. I'm also on Twitter at Heroic Muse 2016, Instagram as Heroic Muse. So I definitely look forward to hearing from all of you at whichever platform you prefer.
Yeah, and go support Jack's books. And I presume they're on Amazon.
Yes, yes. My book, my novel, Reinventing Hannah, is on Amazon. It's enrolled in Kindle University, Kindle Unlimited, which means that if you have a Kindle Unlimited account, you can download it for free.
And so please, 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 I beg of you, go get Jack's book and go get I Win while you're at it, my book. And please leave a review on both of them. All that does is helps the Amazon algorithms. And please just support people with autism, support people with transgender, and please just go make this world a better place, you guys. Thanks, you guys. Bye, you guys.